Hey, everybody. Thanks for waiting. Can you? Hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? Jeez, it's always like this, right? So sometimes this microphone works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'll just put this aside and maybe get a new microphone soon. So, okay. So the big news is that Charlie actually did get transferred to Leon County. I can't believe it. I really didn't think that he was getting transferred, because what's the point? He's just going to take the fifth. You would assume his appellate attorney, who seems pretty smart, would tell him, don't testify, plead the fifth, because he still has his appeal going on. So let me take this off the screen. I guess we've seen this multiple times already. So, okay, take that off the screen. And the big news also, thanks to one of my subscribers, is that Harvey Adelson filed a lawsuit last month against one of Charlie's friends. I don't know if this is a former friend. Probably I would say former, because I don't recall seeing phone calls between them. So let's take a look at the lawsuit. I'm still a little bit sick, so as usual, it's hard for me to speak, and I couldn't find anyone to get on the live stream with me on such a short notice. So please bear with me. Let's see. Okay, so this is filed in, I believe, Broward County Court. No, Miami-Dade County. And Harvey is suing on behalf of Charlie because he has the power of attorney for him, suing Alex Berkovich, Executive Enterprises, and Florida Development Company. So I'm not going to try to read this whole thing since that would be too difficult. So he's asking for a partition of the property pursuant to Florida law. And this is where he establishes that he has a POA, which he got August 25th, 2023. That's kind of strange because Charlie was arrested, I think, April 22nd, 2022. So why did it take so long for his father to get that POA? And so Berkovich, I believe, is a longtime friend of Charlie's, and Charlie also did some traveling periodontist work for Alex's wife, Angela, who looks to be a very successful dentist. And I'm not sure if she was one of the people who would pay him in cash. In Charlie's civil disability insurance lawsuit deposition, he did say that there was some female dentist who had been crying after she was contacted by the media, probably in 2016, and was very sad, but she told him that they would need to part ways and Charlie shouldn't be working at her practice until the whole case settled down. So I'm not sure if it was Berkovich's wife. There could have been another female dentist, but it was mentioned in his deposition back in 2021. Okay, so these are corporations that Berkovich and Charlie had a business interest in. And there's some real estate, 16-unit residential rental building of 9236 square feet located in Miami. The value exceeds $50,000. That's all required boilerplate language. Okay. So he's saying that Charlie is the sole member of and owns all the legal and beneficial interest in this company called 16plex. 16plex was the sole legal title owner of that property prior to April 3rd, 2020. But in 2020, Charlie agreed to cause that company, I guess it's his company, to transfer 50% interest to Berkovich. In exchange, Berkovich agreed to pay to the company a sum of $243,715. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me and see that. Okay, thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I do recall Charlie saying something about still being friends with Alex. And this is kind of a side story, but you guys may recall seeing on Fancy Fiction a long time ago, she had this wiretap call where Charlie and Donna were gossiping about Alex and his wife. And the wife supposedly said to her husband that she can afford to buy a Birkin bag herself, because she's a very successful dentist. And Charlie called her a bitch and was laughing about it. And of course, Donna was agreeing with him. So I just thought that was a pretty obnoxious thing of him to say about his so-called friend's wife, who also, gave him some work on the side. So, okay, so let's get back to this. It looks like it's showing up okay because I have to toggle here. Okay. All right. So Charlie and Alex each had a 50% membership interest in this new company called 731 16plex. So after that, Berkovich gave Harvey an amended and restated operating agreement for Charlie. I don't know when that could be, but must have been after Charlie got arrested. Okay, so each person was supposed to have a 50% membership interest in this proposed agreement, and each is recognized as having made an initial capital contribution of $400,000. Charlie did not execute this because it appointed Berkovich as the sole manager with extensive control, and provided that the replacement of the manager required unanimous member consent, which are terms that had not been negotiated or otherwise agreed to by Charlie or Harvey. Okay, so these are his allegations. Berkovich caused 731 to list EEI and FDC as authorized members of 731 with the Florida Department of State, but such action was not authorized by Charlie or Harvey. So they're claiming that Alex did all these shady things without his consent. Of course, this is after Charlie got put in jail. Okay, 731 doesn't have a binding operating agreement, despite the fact that the property has generated income due to Berkovich's unauthorized usurping of control. Charlie has received no distributions of such income since 2021 and has been provided only limited financial info. So in 2024, Berkovich offered to purchase Charlie's 50% beneficial interest at a price that was substantially under market. Harvey expressed an interest in selling Charlie's 50% interest to Alex, but requested a current appraisal. Berkovich requested that appraisals be delayed until the completion of certain capital improvement projects, which Berkovich or his agent said would occur in spring of 2025. So this is all stuff that just happened pretty recently after Charlie's conviction. However, on June 3rd, 2025, Berkovich communicated he would only agree to an appraisal if Harvey paid for the full cost thereof. Well, I don't think it costs that much to get some sort of commercial real estate appraised. It's probably, I mean, I'm looking at North Carolina numbers, but it would probably just be a couple of thousand at most. Berkovich stated he'd only agree to a sale if Harvey paid all closing costs in connection with the sale, as well as all taxes resulting from Berkovich's gain on the sale. Okay, so based on these allegations, it seems like Harvey and Charlie feel like Berkovich has pulled a fast one over them. Okay, so despite the fact that Charlie is a 50% owner and thus has management and decision-making rights over 731, Harvey has not been provided access to info necessary to determine the value of his interest and the right to distribution of profits. Okay, Harvey has been removed from all management decisions related to the property in 731. So they've reached an impasse within the with respect to the management and disposition of the property. So they want the court to order a partition sale to protect Charlie's interests. Okay. So they're repeating, it's just one building fully occupying a lot. No recorded known liens. Nobody else who would have some sort of interest. Okay, so this is the complaint. They want attorney's fees. Okay, so they also want declaratory relief. That's when you want an official court order stating what is actually true. Let's see. So they're kind of repeating the same thing, that the company is not recognizing Charlie's interest. And now my voice is totally dying, so that's why I try to get guests to come on and help me, give me a break to stop talking. So maybe I'll scroll through this a little bit and just hit the highlights so people can read it. Okay, so he wants a declaratory judgment determining that Charlie owns a 50% membership interest in 731 with all the rights and privileges, including participation in the management and voting regarding all issues. And they want the court to declare that 731 is a member-managed limited liability company and an accounting against Berkovich. So they're making the same allegations that he's taken control over the company and acted without authority as the sole manager. He owes Charlie a fiduciary duty. He took over all the financial info, including rental income, operation costs, financing, etc. Okay. Well, this sounds reasonable. I mean, if he is a 50% member, he should have the right to have these profits and stuff, but they want a proper accounting of profit and losses because otherwise Charlie does not know how to determine the full value of his interest and what he's entitled to. So he wants access to books and records, tax returns, reports, financial statements, amount of money or assets that each member or manager invested, what they received as a return, and how the company has used all the members and managers' money. Okay, so this is the firm, McCardle Franco P. LLC in Coral Gables. And I'm not going to show up the exhibits and stuff because they might have more info that YouTube would potentially ban. So, okay, so I'm not sure if this motion to dismiss shows up. Okay. Yes, definitely. So this shows that, see, Harvey is not some sort of invalid. You know how Wendi tried to make it out like he's some frail person because he's a brain cancer survivor, which is not true. But, you know, he's not feeble. He's 81 years old now, but it seems like he is still a shrewd businessman who has the wherewithal to handle Charlie's finances and property and sue on his behalf and deal with all these attorneys. So if you guys have been watching my channel for years, you probably already know that the Adelsons have a huge history of lawsuits galore. And in Donna's handy notebook, which Deep Dive True Crime showed us, Donna was also planning on suing more people, you know, including her own son, Rob, and his wife, plus the podcasters and all sorts of other people that she felt had wronged her. So more recently, besides the 2 disability insurance lawsuits that Charlie filed, there was also the lawsuit where Harvey and Donna got sued by their attorneys from 2016 for unpaid legal bills, and that case must have settled confidentially. Then last year, Harvey got sued by Danny Tejiro, who was a maintenance man and also, from what I heard, was also a friend of Charlie's in the past. And that person claimed that Harvey had failed to pay him overtime and he was owed lots of wages. So now we have this case here where Harvey is suing Charlie's former friend. I'm assuming former. So they're looking for money, spending more money on lawyers. So let's take a look at this motion to dismiss. And a motion to dismiss doesn't have to do with all the nitty-gritty details of the case and people making allegations. Rather, it focuses more on the superficiality of the complaint and whether the complaint is sufficient to state a cause of action to let the case go forward. So this is kind of like a bold move for Alex Berkovich's attorneys to make, to say, look, even whatever you say, we don't care because that's no valid legal claim under Florida law. So again, the disclaimer is that nothing on this channel is meant to be real legal advice. I'm not licensed in Florida. This is for entertainment purposes only. And I guess it is kind of weird to be spending a Saturday night learning about a motion to dismiss for entertainment purposes. So, but let's call it that. Okay, so the same attorney represents Alex as well as the 2 companies. Yeah, so as I said, the motion to dismiss merely challenges the legal sufficiency of a complaint. All well-pleaded factual allegations are therefore assumed to be truthful. Okay, so they're saying first, plaintiff, Harvey, fails to state a claim for partition. Okay, so they're saying that this provision from the statute limits the availability of the remedy between those having concurrent interest in the property sought to be partitioned. Here, plaintiff lacks standing to obtain partition because he does not possess a concurrent interest in the subject realty. Instead, plaintiff alleges that title to the property is held in the name of a sole corporate entity, which is the non-party 731-16-plex company. Because the property is titled in the name of a single corporate entity, there are no concurrent interests capable of supporting a partition remedy. Okay, so that sounds reasonable because it's all owned by one corporate entity. Plaintiff may argue partition is available under the circumstances alleged as a matter of equity due to a corporate deadlock as to the management of 731. However, this court lacks jurisdiction to disregard the corporate form and to dispose of property titled in that entity's name as a result of plaintiff's failure to name the entity as a party to this litigation. Wow, okay, so that sounds pretty convincing. So they didn't name the company as a party. Okay, so you guys can read those little summaries of the case law in the parentheses if you really want to. (731) is a limited liability company governed by Chapter 605 of the Florida statutes, the provisions of which did not exist and were not applicable within the context of the equitable relief contemplated in Kay or Wofford. Plaintiff's allegations of a corporate deadlock trigger specific statutory remedies which are mandatory and for which equitable intervention is not available. It alleges that 731 is a single-purpose entity whose sole purpose is to hold title to the property, its only asset. The relief plaintiff seeks via his partition claim is to dispose of 731's sole asset, which would leave the entity insolvent and incapable of carrying out its sole purpose. Defendants respectfully maintain that within the context of Chapter 605 of Florida statutes, such relief, if available at all, can only be obtained by statutorily dissolving the entity, requiring its presence as a named party, providing for the satisfaction of any corporate debts or obligations after the disposition of the entity's sole asset, and then distributing the residue amongst the membership. Okay, that sounds convincing. Because plaintiff seeks standing to seek partition of realty solely owned by 731 as a non-party entity, and furthermore, because statutory dissolution of the entity is required but was not sought due to the alleged management deadlock, equitable partition is not available and count one should therefore be dismissed. Okay, well, sounds good to me. Plaintiff fails to state a claim for declaratory relief. Declaratory relief in Florida is available where the claimant is in doubt as to some right or status, and there's a bona fide actual present and practical need for the declaration. It has to arise from the facts and circumstances creating them, not merely from the state of mind or attitude of the movement. Here, the plaintiff fails to allege the requisite doubt in his underlying allegations, instead reflect the absence of any need for declaratory relief. Plaintiff instead specifically alleges A, he is in fact a 50% member. Plaintiff refused to execute the proposed operating agreement because he neither negotiated or agreed to bestow Berkovich with sole management authority over 731. Thus, plaintiff is already alleging the precise facts for which he seeks declaratory relief and has thereby established the absence of doubt needed to trigger his entitlement to the remedy. He's seeking judicial dissolution of 731 as a result of alleged corporate deadlock. The court can award any ancillary relief in that connection as may be warranted, including ordering the purchase of plaintiff's membership interest or any appropriate equitable remedies. Once plaintiff adequately states a claim for judicial dissolution, he'll have no need for duplicative declaratory relief. C, plaintiff fails to state a claim for an accounting. They're saying his entitlement to the corporate records is governed by Florida statutes, which allows inspection by a member upon reasonable notice, and it otherwise requires the company to furnish the requested information at a reasonable location specified by the company. Once presented with a statutory demand for more corporate info, the company has a 10-day period within which to respond. So that's specifically spelled out in the statutes. Plaintiff has failed to state a claim in absence of allegations that he provided reasonable notice of his inspection demand and that after 10 days, the company failed to respond. So count 3 could only be actionable to the extent that 731 failed to comply with a statutory demand for records inspection. So they're quoting that part from the statute. Okay, so that sounds pretty good to me, but once again, I don't practice in Florida, and this corporate business law stuff is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. So Berkovich's attorneys are this firm in Plantation. So that's the latest filing. And once again, thanks to the subscriber who told me about this. So I just looked it up yesterday and thought it might be interesting to show you guys. So let me take that off the screen. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, once again, I'm feeling sick and not speaking too well, but well, this won't be too long anyway. Yeah, who sues their own? Oh, well, he's not suing his son. It's Harvey who is acting on Charlie's behalf because he has power of attorney suing Alex Berkovich and a couple of his corporations. Yeah. Oh, okay, because Charlie, yeah, but if Charlie isn't asked to testify, then he has no right to just ask to see his mom. He's a prisoner, so I don't think he's going to be able to see Donna if he doesn't testify. Yeah, always suing his business partners. And that's right, because, he did sue Ryan Fitzpatrick also. And you guys probably do recall ages ago in the late 1990s, Charlie also sued, I think it was it Sony? some sort of entertainment company, because there was some sort of fun event, I think maybe at his college, where there was a sumo wrestling event and Charlie took part. He didn't sign a waiver and he hurt his wrist or his hand. So, of course, he sued over that. He also sued, trying to get a class action lawsuit going against a court reporting company. And I'm pretty sure that case got dismissed. That was ages ago, probably more than 15 years ago. Yeah, Harvey isn't as vocal, just as vicious. Yeah, there also was some sort of lawsuit filed by an individual in Florida against Harvey. No, it was against Charlie, the Adelson Institute, and Angela Berkovich. And I'm not sure what happened with that case either, but I think it was some sort of dental malpractice case. Imagine Rob's wife's fear of what Donna and the family can do just because they don't approve of her. And Rob, yeah, and it's also because Rob actually spoke to that podcast against Donna and the family. Well, Donna's lawyers tell Donna about the motion. Yeah, I'm sure they will, because they have the duty to tell their client what's going on in their case. So Donna will get that big slap in the face. I remember how heartbroken she was, complaining in the recorded jail call that got dropped, saying that I don't get it, like we were good nannies. Now she doesn't need us anymore. So I'm sure her feelings are very hurt over the way Wendi has pretty much abandoned her. Yeah. Harvey pestering Scott for the return of Charlie's Vietnam villa is the reason Donna got nabbed on a chat. Well, actually, I'm not so sure about that. I'd have to go back to Deep Dive True Crime and watch his videos again about those WhatsApp messages. But I seem to recall that. Yeah, I think it was independent of each other. I think Scott just started feeling a little bit uneasy about these communications with Harvey and Donna after Charlie got convicted. And I'm pretty sure Scott went ahead and contacted the state attorney's office. And it wasn't until months later, I recall, that Harvey was still bugging Scott about, well, what are we going to do about this money? Like, what about our ownership interest in this villa? Do you have documentation of it? And Scott was like, well, excuse me, Charlie, you guys didn't want documentation of it. This is why it had to be purchased under Scott's wife's name, because she's Vietnamese. So, yeah, and I recall thinking, Harvey must not have his minions watching us on YouTube at that time, because by then the word had already spread that Scott was the person who had contacted the state attorney's office. But Harvey was still WhatsApping with Scott for months after Donna got arrested. They could get away with murder. They're greedy and paranoid. They suspect everyone's cheating them because that's what they do. That's right. It's like projection. If you read the letter, Berkovich made a good offer. Okay. Bet they were some of the meanest landlords ever. Yeah. From what I heard, Charlie had a huge, maybe 55-gallon drum that was full of quarters, because they were all quarters from the laundry machines at their rental properties. Yeah, that'll be funny if she wears the same navy dress that she wore the last time. Yeah, maybe she doesn't fit into it anymore. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you all for being here. This isn't going to be too long since I'm still sick and it's hard to keep talking by myself. Yeah. Speaking of being sick, I'm so sorry that, hey, Mona is also sick now. So we're not 100% sure if we're going to be able to do our comedic live on Monday night. It depends on how well Mona feels. I mean, I think I'm up to it. I've already been sick for almost 2 weeks. So hopefully Monday will be okay. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense for him to just want to get his money. Yeah. Hey, Jackie, thanks for being here. People are really loving Jackie's coverage of the case also. This family has created their own karma. They are some of the most vindictive people I've ever known. You create your own energy, and this is awful all around. That's right. You know how Donna was saying that she felt like Dan Markel was back from the grave haunting them, according to June. And then she was still crying on that recorded jail call saying, I swear to God, this family is cursed. You know, as if she didn't have anything to do with this. You know. All this confusion and trauma due to Donna's need for control and meddling in her daughter's life. She destroyed her family. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Remember, her lawyer has advised her well, as Donna said. Now she's not guilty. Charlie has protected you all these years. Yeah, I suspect, she likes to get her money's worth out of those dresses. Yeah. Okay, so motion hearing scheduled Monday at 1:30. Yeah, I knew that was kind of weird because these motions just got filed around August 14th. So I'm sure they don't want to delay jury selection on Tuesday by waiting. Okay. Yeah, who knows? Maybe she'll try to wear that bar mitzvah dress. That would be hilarious. Yeah, I'm sure she'll have a new hairdo. What does this mean in layman's term? Everybody's reading this. What does it mean? Okay, well, it means that Harvey, on behalf of Charlie, is suing Charlie's old business partner slash friend and his companies because he's mad. Meaning Harvey, I assume, Harvey, the plaintiff, is saying that the friend has taken over control of this property. It's a 16-unit rental property where Charlie and Alex were supposed to be 50-50 owners of this corporation that owned the property. But Harvey is upset because Alex presented Charlie slash Harvey with this proposed operating agreement where Alex allegedly would just be in charge of everything. He'd be in charge of managing things, whereas Charlie and Harvey want to see a full accounting of things, and they want declaratory relief, which is that the judge judicially orders something as fact. And they also want a partition, which means a forced judicial sale of the property to just end the business partnership. So that's the Cliff Notes version of that. I know it's so boring, like there are some things people are like, oh, that was so boring. And I'm like, well, how exciting do you think it's going to be to read a lawsuit? I think it's interesting though, personally, but yeah, it's not meant to be that entertaining. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Harvey, yep. I mean, the whole family seems to share finances, so I wouldn't be surprised if this money will wind up going to pay for Donna's legal bills or Harvey's, whatever. So they sure are hiring tons of different attorneys for everything. Yeah. Okay, thanks for this recommendation, because someone did say they would like Mona and me to sing another song during our comedic live stream improv. So we'll think about it. That's a fun song. I know that song. Will they ever go broke? I still don't think so. They're not going broke. I mean, they just sold Charlie's 2 houses in the last couple of years, and I think those houses were paid off already. And they have all these different rental properties generating income. The stock market has done well. So yeah, Okay, you hate that for me. Okay, well, I'm still talking, but I guess I'll end this quickly. So, okay. No, I don't think so. I think what's more likely to happen is that Charlie would probably just go ahead and say, I'm going to plead the fifth. So why did they spend all these taxpayer dollars to transport him from South Dakota? It seems weird. Yeah. Yeah, suing people they had dirt on. Yeah, and again, this totally refutes the so-called extortion theory, because why would Charlie and or his parents turn over $100,000 to $138,000 just because Katie said so? You know, that makes no sense. I mean, same thing with how they were fussing over this bump guy asking for $5,000, and Charlie even said at Dolce Vita, "Why don't we kill him? You know, let's kill the bump guy because he asked for $5,000." You know, so I'm sure if Katie or anybody demanded 138K, he probably would have plotted to kill the person, or at least gone to his various attorney friends and attorneys that they know and police to get rid of that person or just eviscerate them. That's right. Thanks, T. Remember Chuck on the wiretap asking his mom, so are you being sued? Like he thought it was a processor for, you know, they see lawsuits as passive income. They're beyond litigious. It finally caught up. Oh, I'm very sad to say I lost it yesterday, but I don't want to give too much confidential info, but it was a mess of a case, and we're filing another motion for order to show cause soon. So that's just my real life stuff. Yeah, which is nowhere near as interesting as this whole Dan Markel Adelson case. They need to sue people. They're the victims every day, all day. They're the victims of somebody or something. Sure seems like it. Yeah. Hey, Skeeter Curl. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all for still being interested in this. Yeah. She wanted to sue her son for telling the truth. I don't get it. Favorite family guilt enmeshment cue. Ordering popcorn now. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. It was a different friend that called after Donna and Harvey asked him about non-extradition travel recommendations. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't recall. I don't know. Somebody can answer that, but I thought it was Scott who contacted the state attorneys. Can the computer read? Well, it's a little too late now. Somehow we got through it. So sorry. Sorry, it just sounded like crap. And hopefully I've already blocked all the really rude people. So Scott, yeah, Scott was probably worried that he could get embroiled in some sort of legal mess too. Yeah, exactly. That's what they deserve. Yeah, so he's been transferred. He's in Leon County now. So I made a short about it just a few hours ago. Image management. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your support. Everyone's sick. Oh no, Joel was sick too. Oh my gosh. That's going to be awful if we're all sick at the trial. Hopefully I'll be fine in a few days. Yeah, Donna was transferred. They are cursed. Berkovich's companies in this lawsuit were also the original members, along with Charlie Shell Company, in U.S. legal funding. It was formed 3 weeks after Sigfredo's arrest. Okay. Well, I did hear from Brian Fitzpatrick that he had his little office in the back of Alex's wife's dental practice. So definitely Charlie had lots of dealings with this person. So once again, it kind of goes to show, don't do business with your friends or family members, because a lot of times it just goes south. Hi, Rivertel. Thanks for being there. Does everyone think Charlie's fuming at Wendi, maybe plotting her demise? Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him because he seems pretty vindictive and he always thinks that it's always somebody else's fault other than his. So, picture and evidence. Well, it's supposed to be put forth by the defense. I haven't seen it yet, but let's see if they really bring it out to show Donna. And what for? It might just show some sign of desperation. Like, what does this have to do with anything? Showing a picture of her dress. Yeah. What shares does Charlie have? Who's registered? I think they're just co-owners, and it was supposed to be 50-50. Yeah, but I haven't had time to read through all the exhibits that were attached to the complaint, and I don't think I can get away with showing the whole thing because I don't know if it has like lots of addresses or phone numbers or personal info, because YouTube could potentially remove the video or live stream if it shows that. Yeah. Okay. Wendy's boat didn't get Adelson dental. Yeah, I guess she met him after the practice closed, which was 2021. Harvey's ready to recoup some funds as he watches stapled stacks of $100 bills flying out of the Adelson's vault. Yeah, okay. You miss loophole lawyer. Love him. Have the biggest crush on them. Okay, wonderful. Well, he'll be back on Tuesday, so be sure to tune in on Tuesday when he and Patty and I read one of the Charlie Adelson jail calls. I think it's going to be very interesting and sort of fun. So he always brings the jokes. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being interested. I mean, when I first looked at it, I was like, oh my God, looks so boring. And it's kind of reminding me of work. Do I even really want to mention this? But whatever, it's Saturday and people like to talk about this whole Dan Markel Adelson case. I suspect Charlie formed it to launder money to pay for Sigfredo and Katie's legal costs. Remember, Ryan said to you, looking back, he suspects Charlie was using him to launder money. Yeah, it could be. Could be. Yeah, thank you. Who knows where their other cash is buried or where? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think it works that way because based on what I've heard from other Florida attorneys, like if people know already that the potential witness is going to plead the fifth, then they can't even just put them on the stand. It would be kind of weird for him to go all the way up on the stand and then say he pleads the fifth. Yeah. Sure, Wendy's kids will want the Adelson blood money when they die and the boys learn the truth. Okay. Yeah, thank you. If Harvey wins, he'll have to search around for Charlie Stapler before putting the money in the safe. Yeah. Thank you. Yep, they also know judges. When Donna's found guilty, Harvey will fail. Then who pays the commissaries? Yeah, who knows? Well, they do have Harvey's cousin and his family, the Minces out in Texas, who seem to still be staunch supporters of them. And I think he was the person who was supposed to be named as the trustee, which I thought was a little strange, like why wouldn't they name Wendi to be the trustee? But I guess they knew Wendi was already distancing herself from them. And they still have those friends who are with Donna on the recorded jail call. Why isn't Charlie being charged for evading taxes on cash money? Well, I think because maybe in terms of prosecutorial or police resources, they probably just don't care at this point because he's already been convicted and locked away for murder. So it would also require cooperation of certain people, like the former employees. I'm not sure how many people they would have to involve in order to prove that he was evading taxes. And I think the IRS's budget probably has been cut. So yeah, exactly. That's what I'm wondering. It's like they just want him just in case he decides to turn against his mom, or just in case he's not going to plead the fifth. I don't know, because I'm sure it was very expensive and a real hassle to transport him. Do you think Charlie's nervous that Rivera is going to do him in Leon County? That's what I was thinking today. I was like, wow, they're both at Leon County Jail. I guess the jail's big enough to make sure that they are separated. Let's hope. Yeah, it could be that he could be meeting up with his appellate attorney. Awful one. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was most likely Offerman that told him, not to agree to let Rashbaum represent his mom. Yeah, I'm planning to attend some of the trial, but I'm not publicly stating the exact dates, but I do hope to be there a little bit. People will be whining about you all coughing in the court. Yeah, people will complain about everything, right? Yeah. Charlie remaining silent is a funny thought since he's such a talker. That is so true. Yeah. Yeah, so they would transport him because he is listed as a potential witness for both sides. Yeah, no special guests. Yeah, this was totally last minute. So yeah. Might Donna lose it with Wendi refusing to help? Rob and the prosecutor's side, Donna will be furious. Charlie, I can only imagine what he wants to say. Yeah, I'm sure Donna feels very hurt, like she's been stabbed in the heart by Wendi. His expression was directed at Wendi, I think. Yeah, could be. He does look like he's aged even more. He looks like a very hardened criminal. Yeah. So let me just scroll right down because it's really hard for me to keep talking. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, it'll be Tuesday. And then if Mona feels well enough, since she's also sick, maybe we'll do something Monday. Convince the OG to get back on. Oh, are you talking about fancy fiction? Okay. Well, she's still active on her Patreon. So if you'd like to support her on Patreon, you can find her there. And I think she's also posting on Instagram and maybe X. So, let's see. Harvey allowed to visit Charlie while he's in town? Yeah, I think so, because if Charlie's in the jail, then people in the jail can have visitors. So I would assume so. Yeah. Harvey's going to get a side chick. Yeah. Well, people did say that he showed up with somebody who looked like Janice, Charlie's last girlfriend, at the bond hearing in February. So maybe Janice will show up. That would be so strange. Yeah. Donna's the best at laundering. Yeah. Well, remember in my comedic skit, yeah, Donna was using Calgon to launder the money, remember? Mrs. Adelson, how do you get yours so clean? Ancient Chinese secret. and then Wendi busts in with a box of Calgon and says, Mom, we need more Calgon. Okay, just trying to sell my own comedy here because not that many people really watched it. So, okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not supposed to be, you're presumed innocent and you do have the right to plead the fifth, but still, I think if you use your common sense, y'all, you would see that something very suspicious is going on when people like Wendi refuse to be subpoenaed by the defense, because otherwise she would be pleading the fifth. So, yeah, okay, thank you. Thanks for liking that. I know he's an acquired taste and some people really dislike him, but he's willing to be on my show. And like I said, it's really hard for me to keep talking by myself. So I'm always looking for more people to be guests and be willing to come on and talk about this case. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think he can do that. Yeah. So many felons have to be transported. Can't Georgia charge Wendi with perjury for lying on a stand? Yeah, so this is what some of the other attorneys have talked about, because, and I've said this too, that Wendi has done a very good job equivocating on the stand. So notice that she doesn't flat out say yes or no to a lot of questions, especially if there are hard questions that could make her look bad. So she would always say, I think, or I'm not sure, or, that's my recollection, or I don't think so. So if the person doesn't purposely lie, and that's the hard thing, it's like, how do you prove that the person is purposely or willfully lying on the stand? Because sometimes people do naturally forget things or they get confused. So that's why most attorneys who have talked about this on YouTube, we say that it's pretty unlikely that they're going to go after her with perjury. Yeah, and so far she hasn't been arrested or convicted of anything, so her license isn't going to be taken away. Deep dive into child exploitation. Yeah, I think that would kind of like move away from the focus of this channel, because I don't think that people watching this really want to focus on child exploitation. But maybe you guys could find some of Wendi's old articles online about human trafficking, right? But thank you. Thanks. Oh, okay. Thank you. Calgon, take me away. Yeah, that was an old commercial. George will be in the reserve. I don't know. Maybe he'll stay behind and take care of the children. Thank you, Harmony. Do you think Charlie will actually testify? It doesn't seem very likely. Yeah, I don't think so. And Joe Petuto also did not think so either. What benefit does he have? He still has an appeal going on. Thank you, Teresa. Yes, they will note that Charlie's been convicted and he's in prison. Yeah, she's just good at evading. We saw it through her police interview, where she would try to maneuver the conversation and conveniently start boo-hooing and diverting Isom's attention away, asking questions back when someone's asking her a question. Yeah, we've seen it all, especially since there have been so many trials already. I'm sure Donna's attorneys would notice that and say something, though, if people have dressed in certain ways. Yeah. That's right. I wonder how Leon County Jail is dealing with Lewis and Charlie. Yeah, so I guess they have to be very careful. I don't know how the place is set up. Yeah, she gave multiple accounts of the crime scene drive-by. Yeah, and this is also something that other attorneys have noted, that for perjury, it also has to be a deliberate false statement that was material to the case. So whether she went up to the crime scene or not was not material to those cases against Sigfredo, Katie, and Charlie. So, I mean, it's really frustrating, but I think ultimately people in the jury could see through Wendi and her lies and that she was trying to hide something. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter that she lied about the crime scene visit or where she drove up or whether she turned on Trescott, because it wasn't material to building the cases against those defendants. And, you know, it served the purpose of showing the jury that, look, Wendi's kind of a sketchy person. She probably did have something to do with Dan's murder. Yeah, okay. Well, I think they ran that commercial a lot because I definitely remembered seeing it when I was a little kid. Yeah. So, but thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you can stand him there during the trial. That we're not sure because from what I heard, Phil Markel wasn't 100% sure either. So I have no idea. I'm sorry. Out of their surviving. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they've been just brainwashed. Who knows? You know, to keep thinking that, oh, it's the evil government. All these bad people have convicted Uncle Charlie, and all these allegations against Grandma are a total lie, also. But that's why it's great that now we have the internet and YouTube where people keep up all this information and you can see the trial footage. And thanks to Deep Dive True Crime, we're able to see the full police interview that Wendi gave and police interviews of other people. So there's a lot more information out there now where, you know, if the kids want to find the truth or look at all the information, they will be able to. Yeah, that I'm not sure if it was by plane or bus. Yeah. I hated it when she said the Markels are going to think I did it. And Isom said, no, we don't know that. Yeah. Well, he definitely seemed to be treating her like she was some sort of big victim in there, which I think she really loved and relished as she was sitting there like sniffling and then having that sweater or thing over her shoulders like she's some queen sitting in the middle of her subjects. Yeah. Yeah, Lewis is also at Leon County Jail. Okay, Melissa is saying that Charlie flew. Okay. Cool. Phil Markel said he thinks she is, but I've also heard she just has a P.O. box there. Yeah, so who knows? Yeah. Yeah, Georgia confronted her with email. Not that numbers are your goal, but Loophole has a good sized audience. Having him on your show helps inform his audience on the evidence against Wendi while growing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is annoying that he likes to make jokes calling Wendi sweet angel and trying to push some wacky narrative that Charlie was so enmeshed and into satisfying his mother as some pampered Jewish boy that he could have done it without Wendi's involvement. Well, I mean, it's always a possibility, never say never, but I think when you look at all the puzzle pieces in this very complex case, most people would not come to that conclusion. But it's pretty obvious to me that Wendi was involved. She not only knew it was going to happen, but she also took part. And that's the state's theory also. Material, yeah, something that has some sort of plausible effect. So I don't know the legal definition off the top of my head, but it has to be something that actually means something or is substantive. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else Dr. Oped could potentially know, but when I read that deposition with Mentor Lawyer a couple of years ago, actually it was more like 3 years ago, so much time has passed. I just felt like, I bet this guy Jerry, I'm sure he knows more dirt on Charlie and the Adelsons, but he was holding back because his deposition, from what I recall, was back in 2018. So Charlie was still free. So he was probably concerned about potential backlash. So, okay. Hi. So Dr. G says Wendy's mouth and lips were always parted to get more air as she was read. That's interesting because I thought it was also her way to try to seem more innocent and sexy, keeping her mouth, like drooping open so much. It was just so ridiculous. But I think she finally heard the feedback and didn't make as many dumb faces during Charlie's trial. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had this problem when I was in court just yesterday. It was so frustrating because we had this person who was just lying his head off, and I don't even know. I mean, what can you really do? It's not like the DA's office is going to, make it a priority to go after somebody who lied on the stand. Yeah. And even, was it Tim Jansen or somebody said, like, they didn't even know of anyone having perjury charges pursued against them in 30 odd years. Yeah, why in Colorado? That's what I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it has something to do with her boyfriend's job. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. Yeah, that's a frustrating thing. Oh, STS has an airport pic of his legs. Really? I wonder who took the picture then. That's strange. Like, let's take a picture of Charlie Adelson's legs on the airplane. Oh, maybe it was someone flying on the flight that took the picture secretly. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. I'll have to take a look. Okay, there's a picture of him getting on the plane. Yeah, spare your voice. Okay, let me just scroll all the way down and say good night. It's been over an hour. This is a lot longer than I thought it would be. Yeah. Well, she's not even practicing anyway, from what I see. She hasn't really practiced law in years. So, once again, I don't think the state attorney's office has that priority to just get rid of her bar license. Yeah. Oh, okay. Please repost OPED's depot reading. Okay. Well, I guess I'll try to sell my channel because it is kind of depressing putting in lots of work and then not getting a lot of views on stuff. So let me try to sell the channel by showing you guys my catalog of 3.5 years worth of all these videos and live streams and shorts that I have made, mainly covering the Dan Markel case. And so I did re-premiere the Jerry Oped deposition reading with Mentor Lawyer. I think I re-premiered it about half a year ago. So it should show up pretty soon. There it is. Yeah, the Adelson's roommate's deposition, which you can see right here. I titled the re-upload, More Proof Charlie Adelson's Extortion Theory Was Bunk. Reading.
Imagine where we'd be without our sanitation workers.
So once again, I'm not going to pay YouTube when I do so much work for them. So
book signing.
Okay, so this is where hope you guys get a kick out of this, because I think adding the humor to it actually brings more flavor and makes it a little bit more interesting. So he did go off script, so there are some sort of funny lines that we said to make it more interesting. So he was trying to play Dr. Obed as kind of a sleazy playboy. And so you can find this pretty quickly under the video tab on my main channel page called More Proof Charlie Adelson's Extortion Theory Was Bunk, Reading Former Roommate's Deposition. So I read Tara Kawas's lines and he was Jerry Obed. Okay, thanks for asking about that. Hopefully people actually tune in. Well, this one got 15,000 views, so that's pretty good for my channel. So thank you guys. Oh, and also just to add some more flavor to this. So the defendant, Charlie's former friend and business partner, is this person, Alex Berkovich. I heard that he is Russian American and his wife is the dentist that Charlie was making fun of and called her a bad name. And this is her Instagram here, Dentistry of South Florida. So that's a nice picture of her there, but there's a more recent picture of her here on the right. And she seems to have a very luxurious dental practice and she speaks really well. Sounds like she has lots of positive reviews. Okay, so I'll take that off the screen because she's not part of this lawsuit, but it's her husband who is being sued by Harvey. Yeah. Charlie was going to speak to Wendi in person? Oh, yeah, because in some of those old wiretap calls, yeah, Donna and Charlie are talking about how, like, Donna really wanted Charlie to talk with Wendi in person. And I mean, she was good about keeping her hands clean of all this. Yeah, because she didn't talk on the phone with Charlie much. And she wasn't wiretapped herself. And she was busy working at that time, clerking for the judge. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Interested to see how Georgia handles the Stock to Bar email. I think she'll attack it head on this time. Yeah. But again, it's not really important in the case against Donna. So there are a lot of points where Georgia could have potentially questioned Wendy's truthfulness more, but it wasn't necessary. And there's also that whole problem of her having some sort of limited use immunity while Wendi is up there testifying. Yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you, T. Kensel. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm still trying to work behind the scenes to get more people to come on or be willing to be interviewed, but it's frustrating that so many times people want to talk about the case, but then when I ask them if they want to actually be on the show, they say no. So yeah, it's hard. So yeah, definitely mentor, lawyer, deep dive, true crime. It's like I said this before, but it does make me feel bad when I see he has been doing such great work on the case for years and years when nobody was covering it. And you know, he does these great videos and gets like 5,000 views or 10,000, less than 10,000 views. So please support Deep Dive True Crime. He also splintered it off into Mentor Lawyer Justice Network and Dan Markel's Murder Saga. And he has some really good videos just uploaded within the last few days where he and Ed, not a high, are giving really great, insightful summaries of all the latest news in Donna Adelson's case, as well as his take on things. And he also has information about Mickey Easterwood, who is the new person mentioned in Donna Adelson's motion trying to suppress part of Drina Barnhart's testimony. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your support. I'll be a judge. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like I said, it's about justice for Dan. I'm not doing this for money because, you know, I can definitely make a lot more per hour as an attorney than doing all this stuff and sitting around on a Saturday night talking about lawsuits and all that. Oh, the link of the video with Calcon. Okay, well, okay, I guess this is a good chance for me to sell my stuff more, since, you know, it's like stuff just doesn't get watched that much. But it was actually in a comedic live, and then I rebroadcast it again in another recent comedic live, which is the, which one is it? Oh, the Donna Adelson's worst evidence. That was just about a week or two ago, where I had a live stream showing some of the old comedy in case people hadn't seen it before. So if you scroll down to live, the tab that says live up here, then you scroll down, it's just this second row on the right. It's called Donna Adelson's worst evidence comedy. Best worst evidence against Donna Adelson, the bump and copacetic comedic reenactment. And the reason I say copacetic all the time, it's like a sarcastic crack at Wendi, where she was saying that everything was copacetic between her and her latex husband, Dan Markel. Okay, so where is it? Okay, there's the Calcon thing. Microphone is off. I'll just go ahead and play it.
Now, exhibit number 4. Let's take a look at that. How dare you all of you people against me. Well, at least you're giving me some views and clicks, even though you're writing such hateful things, because I need all the money I can get to help pay my legal bills. So please keep up with the comments and downvotes and thumbs up or whatever you want to do, because any interaction is good for the YouTube algorithm. Off the evening news. Just give me something I can use. People love it when you lose. They love dirty laundry. Dirty laundry. Okay. I feel like these bills, this batch of bills has been sitting here long enough. Okay, hopefully I used enough soap to dissipate all the fingerprints. Oh, I hope it's going to dry fast enough. Oh, I hope this hit goes through, finally. Oh, I hate to see all this good money going down the drain like it did last year. Oh, okay. I think I got this nice and clean now.
How do you get yours so clean, Mrs. Adelson?
Ancient Chinese secret. Mom, we need more Calgon.
Ancient Chinese secret, huh?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm back now. Yeah, I'm not sure why now I'm just showing up as a little person here. Oh, okay. Yeah, technical difficulties. Yeah, they didn't mention any wet bills during previous hearings, but I'm sure it's going to come up again. I was actually surprised that Rashbaum didn't dare to cross-examine Katie Begbanwa on that point, where she claimed that the cash she received became moldy. So, yeah, I'm sure that's going to come up again. Yeah. So that's just a joke, because that's comedy. So I have no idea if it's true or not, because what Katie said was that it was weeks later, after she put the cash in the plastic bag into her closet, then she took the money out and noticed there was mold on it. And that's when Sigfredo told her, use a blow dryer or something dry it off. Well, by then the mold was probably already dried up anyway. So it's just a guess that maybe Donna washed the money, but it became like a running joke with everybody making jokes about it, including myself. So I don't know if it's true or not. That's comedy. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. I'm glad you get the reference. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the sound was a little off since I was playing another video that played the video, but at the end it was supposed to be that Wheel of Fortune bankrupt sound. Yeah, it took a long time to find all the sound effects and the music for it and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'd better get going. Yeah. Okay. So I wouldn't 100% conclude that. That's just a guess based on what Katie said. So Katie had no real idea. You know, she didn't witness it or she didn't hear Charlie say it. So just as Mona and I have said in our comedic improvs, you know, it could have just been that Katie McPanua sees mold wherever she goes, and they're in Florida where it's humid, so she was just exaggerating and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, it's just a guess. Yeah. They think Wendi was manipulated by Donna. Ali Motto's a great lawyer on defense diet. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen her a couple of times. I just don't have much free time to look for new channels and keep watching their stuff, especially when it has to do with this case, because I'm focusing on my own content these days. So, yeah, I'm still trying to find more people that are willing to be on. So if you guys really are willing to be on the show, please feel free to leave a comment down below and hopefully we can get in touch. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys. This has lasted a lot longer than I expected, and hopefully if Mona feels up to it, she's sick, you know, hopefully we'll do something Monday night. We'll also do something with Loophole Lawyer and Patty Ann on Tuesday, which should be very interesting as well as informative. So, okay, thank you. Have a good evening. Thanks everybody for your support. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.